priest first, shepherd second. And this is another phrase that we're going to be looking at over the course of these few weeks. And let's look at Matthew 22:36, because Jesus was asked a question, "Teacher, what is the greatest commandment in the law?" And typically, when a Pharisee or a scribe asked Jesus a question, they were trying to catch him out. But Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind." We know that, right? And then he adds, and the second is like this, love your neighbor as yourself. Now, can you see there's an order here? What's first? Love the Lord with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. What does that speak to? You are the temple of God. If you are to love him and worship him, you need to bring all of yourself. And so what Jesus is saying here, and this is not just about sequence only. It's not like you've got to say to yourself, I can't love you yet because I don't feel like I've sufficiently loved the Lord. To be fair, you'll never sufficiently love the Lord. But what it's saying here is, in order to love others as yourself, in order to love yourself, then you need to love God first. And essentially what it's saying, Jesus is saying, is where you abide defines what fruit you bear. Where you abide defines the person you are. And what is true in the natural is true in the spiritual. I mean, a rose bush, its branches is going to bear roses because it's connected to a rose bush, right? Where you abide defines the fruit that you bear. And so, to put it another way, we're priests first, and then we're shepherds second. This means that we minister to the Lord before we minister for the Lord. We minister to the Lord before we minister for the Lord. And this is not something that the paid pastor does in ministry. This is all of us. We're all called to minister to one another. But before we do that, we are called to minister to him first. Excuse me. In Exodus 28, the priests wore garments, right? And they had the names of the tribes of Israel engraved on their shoulders and over their hearts. But their first job wasn't to carry the people, it was to stand before the Lord. And that is the posture that we take. Standing before the Lord, loving him, delighting in him, offering ourselves before we offer anything else. And if we flip the order, if we try to serve or lead or perform without first beholding and ministering to him, we risk burnout, comparison, even resentment. We operate for him out of a place of being with him. And that was another challenge for me this week. I was like, oh wow, yeah, I've gone on autopilot sometimes in certain areas. Like, this is a good reality check for us all. But when we start with love for God, everything else flows. And I know there's a witness in the room. You could attest to this. And so the question I think this presents to us is, am I ministering to the Lord in my daily life? What do I mean by minister? I mean, am I giving him my all? Am I seeking to please him? Am I worshiping him with my tithes and my offerings? Am I worshiping him with my time? Am I worshiping him with my thought life? Am I worshiping him with the way in which I put time aside for him? Am I ministering to him? And is my doing for him flowing out of being with him? And I think that's a massive, massive challenge in our culture, where we go a million miles an hour. The expectation levels for us from others is massive. I mean, I love WhatsApp, but I've got so many WhatsApp groups and messages. I'll be honest, I struggle sometimes to keep up, and I'm sorry if I owe you a reply on WhatsApp. I feel overwhelmed sometimes. I mean, but that is the culture that we are in, of just saturation. And sometimes we need to step out of that and say, I've got my order wrong. I need to abide with him. I need to be a priest first and a shepherd second.